Cameron Keller, 31 Grand Magnolia Drive. Today I come before you as a citizen concerned by the course of events which has led us to where we are now. After having extensive conversations with involved parties, including the police chief, I have discovered that the original contract, which was signed with Flock Safety, is missing, and one will not be sent by Flock itself. But some weeks ago, I submitted a FOIA request to the city, and I received my requested documents in a timely and professional manner, and for that, I would like to thank the Police Chief Brad Hobbs and Kirsten Falkenberry and all other involved parties. But I will tell you that what I received in the FOIA did not dissuade my fears. In fact, it doubled them. The contract, which the city is currently operating on with Flock, revealed something even more troubling. Flock's terms and conditions, which he referenced in his PowerPoint, are not actually listed in the contract. They are listed as being on Flock's website. Now, what does that mean? That means that when Flock removes the explicit term, which they did, Flock does not own and shall not sell customer data, and replace it with customer hereby grants Flock a limited, non-exclusive, royalty-free, you've heard it now many times. Not only does it go unnoticed or unnotified, as I have confirmed today, again by Police Chief Brad Hobbs, but they are also technically not in violation of their contract because it says it is on our website. Customer agrees to all the terms on our website. And I did confirm that, by the way, with an attorney. Now, this puts into perspective the unfortunate reality of the situation, which is that Greenwood is trusting this company, whose only responsibility is to their investors and to produce profit for them and themselves with our public safety, to operate in good faith, and to not mislead them and tell them the truth. And if they lied, well, I guess it would just be the first time a corporation has ever lied before. This company with an $8.4 billion valuation, and when you compare their lobby to Axon, it's worth noting that despite Axon being 5 times the valuation and generating 10 times the revenue, that Flock spends 4 times more of its revenue on lobbying than Axon does, and that's not to mention their state lobbying apparatus or their implicit in their contract, municipal lobbying apparatus, which is essentially what this gentleman is doing here today. Now, there is a misconception about what Flock cameras do. There are some that believe that they are just automatic license plate readers and nothing more. And what he said in that PowerPoint in so many words was that no, that's not what they are. What they are is that at minimum, according to their own marketing, they track color, make, model, dents, scratches, roof racks, decals, political stickers, a complete, what they call, vehicle signature of each and every car that passes by it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Flock cameras also discern when you frequently travel with other specific vehicles and can flag potential associates and recognize patterns for your particular vehicle's commutes, and that data is stored for a minimum of 30 days. Now, the line has been repeated ad nauseum. You do not have any reasonable expectation of privacy when you're out in public, and that's not a false line, but when you go out in public and a police officer observes you, that's not a violation of your Fourth Amendment rights. But if an officer is tailing you every day, not just in Greenwood, but in Fort Smith, Barling, Alma, Van Buren, Little Rock, or when you decide to take a weekend trip to Dallas, well, then I think we have a different story. And they store that data for a minimum of 30 days. The Supreme Court has ruled over and over again that tracking intimate location data, whether it's a car or a cell phone, is indeed a violation of the Fourth Amendment. And by the way, I'll just say, Schmidt versus Norfolk, which is often mentioned by the proponents of Flock, was out of the Eastern District of Virginia, meaning that it is not a settled case precedent for the rest of the country. It has absolutely no bearing on the Western District of Arkansas. What I'm not going to dispute is the capability of these cameras to be used for good. They absolutely could be used as a tool to help solve crimes, but it is absolutely asinine to say that without these cameras that our police are unable to operate. It completely and totally disregards the work and sacrifice that our brave officers commit to every single day. Sure. And despite all of that good, there is still potential for harm and inaccuracy. I'm not going to restate the numerous cases of misidentification, but what I will say is that according to the most generous statistics, and I do mean generous, Flock's cameras are only 93% accurate. And that means that out of the just 50,000 unique plate reads in the last month in Greenwood. 3,500 of them were misreads. And I'll tell you one thing, that the second a family of 5 gets forced onto the pavement here in Greenwood, Arkansas, because a flock camera accidentally identified their vehicle as being stolen, these will have ceased to have been worth it. And I think Tom would agree that we cannot afford the $2 million settlement that we're going to give to said family. And by the way, that is not hypothetical. That happened in Colorado. So the value of these cameras would come down to their general capability to reduce and solve crime. And to this point, no evidence actually exists to prove that flock cameras do any such thing. No independent peer-reviewed studies, that is. He referenced a TCU study from 2024 in his PowerPoint. What he did not mention is who co-authored and funded that study. That was Flock themselves. It was co-authored by a Flock employee and funded by a Flock employee. That's like McDonald's trying to tell you that a Big Mac and a large fry is the best thing an American can eat and is 3 square meals a day. They may say it, their data might say it, but you and I both know that's not true. So, I don't fault anybody who believes in flock cameras. I totally understand and sympathize with their views, but as time goes on, we have to ask ourselves if the appropriate response is to just roll over and say, oh well, they're watching me, or actually stand and fight further infringement. And I would take issue with the fact that the company to which we have outsourced our public safety has referred to anti-flock individuals as far left, anti-police, and in some cases as terrorists. You all know me, I know you all do, and you know that I am not a far-left anti-police terrorist. So with my time running out, counsel, I just want to say and appeal to you tonight. I know that this is not a voting meeting, but look at this crowd. The people are here, and the vast majority of these people want you to get rid of ththese flock cameras. So let's not debate it. It's too late to put it on the ballot in November. You all know that. So let's get rid of it as soon as humanly possible. Thank you for your time.